Have you noticed that even when Americans get raises, work longer hours, or earn more money than before, life somehow still feels harder? Millions of people across the United States are asking the same question right now. Where did all the money go? Rent is higher, groceries are higher, insurance is higher, fast food is higher, and somehow the middle class feels more financially stressed every single year. The scary part is, this isn't just about inflation. There are deeper economic forces quietly making Americans feel poorer even while the economy looks strong on paper. In today's video, we're breaking down the real reasons why so many Americans feel financially trapped despite working harder than ever before. Welcome back to The Dollar Pilot. Today we're talking about something millions of Americans feel every single day, but struggle to fully explain. Why life in America feels more expensive every year. And no, this isn't just people complaining online. For many families across the United States, the financial pressure is real. Even Americans with decent salaries now say they feel broke, stressed, exhausted, or constantly behind financially. And one of the biggest reasons is that the cost of modern life has changed dramatically faster than most incomes. A few decades ago, many middle-class Americans could afford a home, support a family, own a car, take vacations, and still save money on a single income. Today, that reality feels almost impossible for millions of younger Americans. So what changed? The first major issue is inflation. Inflation means the purchasing power of money slowly declines over time. In simple terms, every dollar buys less than it used to. Groceries cost more, housing costs more, utilities cost more, healthcare costs more, insurance costs more, education costs more. And while inflation has technically slowed compared to peak pandemic years, prices themselves remain far higher than before. This is something many Americans misunderstand. When headlines say inflation is cooling, it does not mean prices are going back down. It simply means prices are rising more slowly. That's a huge difference. Another major problem is housing. Housing has become one of the biggest financial burdens in America. Rent prices exploded in many cities after the pandemic. Mortgage rates also surged after the Federal Reserve aggressively raised interest rates to fight inflation. This created a painful combination. Homes became both expensive and harder to finance. For younger Americans especially, homeownership now feels increasingly out of reach. And when people spend huge portions of income on housing, everything else becomes financially stressful. Healthcare is another hidden financial crisis. The United States spends more on healthcare than almost any country in the world, yet millions of Americans still struggle with medical debt, expensive insurance premiums, deductibles, prescriptions, and emergency costs. Even people with insurance often feel financially vulnerable. One unexpected hospital bill can destroy savings, and healthcare inflation has quietly pressured household budgets for years. Another huge issue is wages. Yes, wages increased in some industries after the pandemic, but in many cases, real living costs increased faster. That means people may technically earn more money while actually having less purchasing power. This creates the feeling of running harder while falling behind. And psychologically, that feeling is exhausting. Americans are also dealing with subscription overload. A modern household may pay monthly fees for streaming services, internet, phone plans, software, cloud storage, gym memberships, delivery apps, gaming subscriptions, and digital platforms. Individually, these charges seem small, but combined together, they quietly drain thousands of dollars every year. Many people don't realize how much recurring spending impacts long-term financial health. Debt is another massive factor. Credit card debt across America has reached record highs. Interest rates on many credit cards now exceed 20%. That means millions of Americans are trapped paying interest on groceries, gas, emergencies, and everyday living expenses. Student loans continue affecting millions of younger workers. Car payments also surged dramatically due to rising vehicle prices and higher borrowing costs. Many households now carry debt in almost every part of life, and debt creates financial stress even when people appear financially stable on the surface. Social media also changed financial psychology. Americans today constantly compare themselves to others online. Luxury vacations, expensive apartments, designer clothing, new cars, perfect lifestyles. People now feel pressure to maintain appearances even while struggling financially behind the scenes. This creates what economists sometimes call lifestyle inflation. As income rises slightly, spending often rises even faster. And because social comparison never ends, financial satisfaction becomes harder to achieve. Another important factor is economic uncertainty. Many Americans no longer feel confident about the future. Layoffs in tech companies, fears of recession, automation, artificial intelligence, housing affordability problems, and rising living costs have created widespread financial anxiety. Even people with stable jobs feel uncertain, and uncertainty changes spending behavior. People become more cautious, stressed, and emotionally exhausted. At the same time, big corporations have become extremely effective at quietly increasing prices. Shrinkflation became common across America. Products became smaller while prices stayed high. Hidden fees exploded. Subscription costs increased. Fast food prices surged. Many Americans feel like they are paying more while receiving less value. And honestly, that feeling is not imaginary. Another major reason Americans feel poor is declining savings. During the pandemic, many households temporarily built savings from stimulus checks, reduced spending, and government support. But over the past few years, those savings declined rapidly as inflation and living costs increased. Today, many Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Unexpected expenses now feel financially devastating for millions of families. Retirement anxiety is also growing. Older Americans worry about whether Social Security will be enough. Younger Americans worry they may never retire comfortably at all. Traditional pensions largely disappeared. Retirement responsibility shifted toward individuals through 401ks and personal investing. But many households struggle just to cover monthly bills, leaving little room for long-term investing. Another issue is that the economy often looks stronger on paper than it feels in real life. Stock markets may rise, GDP may grow, corporate profits may increase, but average Americans care about everyday reality. Can they afford groceries? Can they afford rent? Can they pay off debt? Can they save money? Can they build a future? And for millions of people, those answers feel increasingly difficult. Now, here's something important. Feeling financially stressed does not always mean someone is bad with money. Yes, budgeting matters. Financial discipline matters. Saving matters. But many Americans are dealing with structural economic pressures that genuinely make life harder than previous generations experienced. That reality is important to understand. At the Dollar Pilot, we believe financial awareness is more important than ever in today's economy. Because once you understand inflation, debt, housing costs, wage stagnation, corporate pricing, and consumer psychology, you stop blindly reacting to the economy and start making smarter financial decisions. The truth is, many Americans are not imagining this pressure. Life genuinely became more expensive. And millions of households are trying to adapt to a completely different financial reality than the one previous generations experienced. This is why more people are focusing on budgeting, investing, reducing debt, building emergency savings, learning financial literacy, and protecting long-term financial stability. Because in today's America, understanding money is no longer optional, it's survival. Stay informed, stay disciplined, and remember, understanding the economy is one of the most powerful tools you can use to protect your future.